The following is rated not safe for work. It contains strong language, adult situations, and lots of spoilers. Discretion is advised.
In the criminal justice system, cinematic-based offenses are considered especially heinous. The dedicated attorneys who investigate these villainous films are members of an elite squad known as the Reels of Justice. These are their stories.
Order, please, order. The Reels of Justice is now in session. Judge Dylan J. Schlender presiding. Your eyes for the Honorable Judge Schlender.
Be seated. Welcome to the Reels of Justice. Today we are hearing the case of The People versus The Life of Chuck, a 2024 sci-fi fantasy film that tells the life story of Charles Krantz in 3 acts in reverse order, the story being adapted from a Stephen King novella. For those of you unfamiliar with our court proceedings, we are here to determine if this film is guilty of being a bad movie. As always in this courtroom, films are to be considered excellent until proven awful, and the burden of proof lies upon the prosecution to prove beyond a shadow of a reasonable doubt that this film is guilty. Mr. Vern, you are representing the prosecution. You may present your opening statement.
People of this jury and of this fine and beautiful court. From the start, Mike Flanagan and Stephen King have made a really good team. From the first collaboration on Shelves Game, which did the impossible task of having a story set in one room and being both engaging and suspenseful, to Dr. Sleep, a movie that is not only a sequel that pays respect to Stephen King's book, but also is a worthy sequel to Stanley Kubrick's film. Now Mike Flanagan adapts Stephen King's short story, The Life of Chuck, into a feature film. It has a great cast of characters and has a very memorable moments, but as a whole, this movie is a dull, boring slug that wants to be sentimental and heartwarming. It wants me to feel for a lead character that is so one note, him and others feels like they belong in Diane's Dream from Mulholland Drive or fictional characters from Pleasantville than real, fleshed out people. I'm here to prove today on the Reels of Justice that The Life of Chuck is a bad, boring movie.
Thank you. Appearing on behalf of the defense is Big Ben Haslar. Please present your opening statement.
First off, members of the jury, and by that I mean the real jurors who are the listeners, if you haven't seen this film, stop now and watch it. If you have any inclination to see it, you can't time travel before the Vern said anything, because this movie is one that should be seen as blind as possible. And as we dive in more, we will likely rob you of an experience that you deserve. A lot of the feelings you'll get are intentionally formulated by the way the film withholds things from you until the next act informs you what you're missing. That said, this is a wonderful movie. This was in my top 11 films of last year, actually top 5. It's a movie.
Top 11, and we know which number that is. Come on.
It's in the top 5, and it was number 4.
Okay, there it is. There it is.
And it's a movie whose message I have ruminated on a lot in the days since that first viewing. It's a film that focuses not on the existential dread many of us feel, particularly in middle age and on, but what we might call existential wonder, even acknowledging when the end is nearing, because I think that existential dread is natural when you're blowing past all the deadlines and milestones, not having accomplished any of the things you had hoped to, not having mastered all of the arts and sciences that interested you, and watching loved ones drop dead around you or move away from you in the most meaningless of ways that would make you wonder, well, what was that all for then? The Life of Chuck posits some very beautiful answers to all of this and does so brilliantly by telling the story not only in reverse order, by having the lesson, which you haven't even yet grasped, shown first, but fully fleshing out who Chuck is later and how everything has influenced him. Chuck is a person who contains multitudes, as we all are. When someone mentions Howard the Duck, there's a little Vern inside of me that informs me that maybe it's not all that bad. There's a little Ryan Luis Rodriguez who informs me about the meaning of cinema, a little Maynard Bangs who tells me how to use a well-timed joke, and a little Dylan Schlender who tells me how you can be a thoughtful everyman at the same time. And I've implanted a little big Ben Haslar in all of you. Like it or not, he's in there. You can't scrub him out. Don't even bother trying.
Must watch tentacles.
So much sake.
These multitudes live within us and informs us about the meanings of our lives. Not that we got married or had ex-kids, led this or wrote that, though those can be a part of it. But it's an interconnected web of influence. I pass on those pieces of those who have influenced me, modified and made my own, just like they have likely acquired it in some other form from someone else while making it their own. This is very life-affirming and beautiful.
Thank you, Big Ben. The Vern, you may proceed with your first exhibit. And you don't have to go in reverse order. I suggest your strongest exhibit first.
Well, I have to say, if this movie is life-affirming, then you have a very boring life, all right? Because sorry, now, my first exhibit has to be the structure. The whole backward structure, that works great in a novel, but not in the movie itself. So like the whole thing of us starting at the end of Chuck's life, and like if you watch this movie and you just saw these characters who are living in this town, and then the internet goes off, and then people are talking about these natural disasters, we're then introduced to Chiwetel Ejiofor's and Karen Gillian characters, two ex-lovers who are trying to get reconnected, but nothing really establishes with those characters. Same thing with Matthew Lillard as Gus, a person that just says exposition to say exposition about all these bad things that are going on there. Not to mention the other people in the second story, like nothing happens with them. Like, why do we spend so much time with Chiwetel Ejiofor and Karen Gillian if nothing is going to build with these characters? You think they're going to have like this big thing near the end, and then hey, the story's done. We're on to the next story. And I thought these characters would maybe show up later in other chapters, and they do, but they're just very blip moments. So yeah, the structure there is just doesn't add to anything. It's like a series of short films rather than a whole story.
All right, Big Ben, would you like to comment on the structure? It is a big part of the movie.
Yeah, I think a lot of whether or not you like this film is how willing you are to put aside the preconception of what is going to be and just let it guide you where it wants to take you. It starts out saying Act 3, so it tells you that up front, and that tells you a lot. It's not leading you astray in any way as to what its intentions are. So why tell it in reverse? Well, essentially, when told forward, it's about a guy named Chuck who loses his parents at a young age and dies at age 39 of cancer, the end. But by telling the last act first, the world inside Chuck's head of influences informs the meaning the film was trying to paint. We're inside Chuck's cosmic calendar on the last second of the last day, like Carl Sagan's cosmic calendar of the universe, where it's the last second where human thought, human history, all math and science become realized. But for Chuck, it's in that moment all of his synapses start to fail and the stars of his mind blip out of existence. And I think that act covers a very natural fear we have thinking of our own mortality and what could have been, always looking backwards, but that's not the overall point. We need this world to understand the concept of multitudes becoming reality, as will be explained later. But it would be much different ending to see Chiwetel Ejiofor and Karen Gillan trying to find each other and watch the universe end if you watched it, forward, essentially boiling down to thinking about the shared moments and connections. So this is all sort of an extrapolation of Chuck's influences in his mind. And these characters were important to them in his young life because they were hovering around him when certain tentpoles of his way of thinking occurred, be it the scar. Karen Gillan, I believe she was the nurse that sort of healed that scar. And the teacher, he was there when he first learns about multitudes and also when he had that great dance. In Act 2, we see Chuck at the moment the character would say is the reason that God made him, knowing he's going to die in 9 months, but the character doesn't. But in the real world moment, the sea of influences in his mind, like from his grandma, he uses his hands in the same way that she does. These multitudes like sort of Busker out in this moment as Busker and little sister he dances with create something beautiful, not just for himself, but for everyone around him. A moment that will live on for all who saw it. A moment that easily could have never happened if it weren't for whatever prompted the busker to change her beat. Him to think of his grandmother and his school dance, or the girl if she hadn't been distraught from that breakup. And they create that multitudes here and now in this moment. And then finally in Act 1, it all comes to the point. Chuck is a boy of sorrow. His parents died, yet he is multifaceted in his interests, as we all are. And I think of that cupola being that interpretation. But maybe it's like that, it's this haunted tower that, shows up and it shows you how you're going to die. Mark Hamill, who plays John Avery Whitaker here, and a joke maybe 2 people will get, but if you do, DM me. He keeps this locked. He witnesses the future deaths that haunt him, and even in his own death of a heart attack. Eventually, as a teenager, Chuck gets a full view of himself in a hospital bed, and he knows that it's him because of the scar on his hand. But Chuck chooses to live, to be a part of this grand experience of life. And while the journey to the end, as Nick Offerman tells us, is filled with anguish, the beauty he experiences and passes on makes it worth it. Now, seeing the story in reverse, we can play the film forward in our minds to the ending and fully understand the world that Chuck knows it, at least in the synapses of his mind. His wife whispers, "Thanks, Chuck. He is her universe. He's their child's universe in that moment, and there's beauty in this cosmic calendar." That was my longest exhibit. Thank you.
That was a hell of a rebuttal. The Vern, if you would like to continue, please.
Well, thank you very much for that. Yeah, each of the acts that happen in this, they don't really lead anywhere. The only story that has an actual plot to it is Act 1, the younger Chuck with his grandma, because his grandmother teaches Chuck his love of music, and Chuck learns to love dancing, which adds into his scene in Act 2, which I believe is a very wonderful sequence in and of itself. But those 2 acts, the Act 3 and Act 2, you did not need for it to be that long. You did not need that long, boring monologue from Gus and Matthew Lillard just talk about all these disasters that happen anywhere. You don't need this whole big drama between Karen Gillian and Chiwetel Ejiofor about them rekindling their romance. Because when you see this movie for the first time, if you did not watch trailers for this, you would think that this is just a story about this town, this world that's going to come to the end. And then, oh wait, we're in the mind of someone else's head? Oh, great. Oh, he's an accountant? Oh, geez, even bullet. Which brings me to my second exhibit. Chuck, Charles Krantz. What is so interesting about this guy that makes the audience care anything about him? All I know is that he loves to dance, but he's really good at math. He has a good job as an accountant, but his passion is in dance. And this movie is trying to tell us that, hey, give up on your passion and go for a stable life. We know at the end of the Act 3 that he's going to die. So all I saw from this is that he's a guy that just likes to dance. And he was shy about it as a kid. He overcame his shyness. He dances. He's an accountant. He gets cancer. That's it. That's all he has.
Big Ben, is that all it is? Just some accountant getting cancer? What's going on here?
I think it's a bit important that Chuck is an everyman. I don't know that it works in all cases when we have blank slates like John Carter, but here is a film where it wouldn't work without it. He's not terribly remarkable accountant who once had ideas of pursuing dancing, but opted to do something more practical. How many of us haven't made choices similar to that? We're meant to put ourselves in those exact shoes and equate his philosophy of multitudes to our own experiences. We're multifaceted. So is Chuck. We have a universe of perceptions and understandings and influences between our ears, just as he does. This movie is about you, Vern. You too are wonderful. You too deserve to be wonderful. You too contain multitudes. You too have grappled with the problem of a painful universe and the search for meaning within all of it. You crave meaning. You dread the absence of it. We all do. And without getting spiritual, it posits that the answer that you can choose to find comfort in, if you'd like, is that we're all interconnected. Some of these influences on us will be bad. Some of them will traumatize us. Some people can't function at all because of the way some people have treated them in their past. Some people become unbearably narcissistic and hungry for their own power and glorification of themselves. But given that the human influence exists and we know that it exists, we can wield it for more benefit. You can be the one person that someone thinks of later in their life and say, you know what? That person was kind to me. That person set me up for success as best they could. Or that person just even made me smile in the silly way that they did something and they weren't even aiming for me. Why not do that for everyone I come across? Why not stick around a bit longer, as long as I can, to put as much beautiful, positive change into this world as I can? For me, that's the essence of this movie. We carry these pieces of all the people who have impacted with us and carry those pieces they carry us, me, with them. The germination of these experiences extended to the far past and can reach into the far future. So that's great. So you should also say thanks, Chuck. Vern, say it.
And
you don't have to do that, Vern.
And while I do believe that Chuck probably does change the lives of people in Act 2, including the drummer and the girl he dances with, what I really want to know more about was his wife and kid. Does the movie tell me anything about his wife and kid, about how they met, or anything about their relationship? No, it just shows her on his deathbed at the end, and that is really it. We know nothing about her so much that she might as well be, a secondary character like his sister or like some person he met on the street. That is it.
Well, I think we can imagine that, a version of his wife and a version of his kid are in the multitudes of his mind as well. But, it wouldn't play out the same way if we focused on them. And that's kind of the point. It intentionally keeps them on the side because it is about the multitudes of the experience.
You keep bringing back this thing with like multitudes.
That's the point.
But here's the thing too. He has in Act 3 just paying so much attention to these two characters who he really doesn't really interact with much in his own life. Maybe small little moments. And I just got confused about why this movie wants to spend so much time on these characters if they only been like passing moments in his life. This isn't like the Wizard of Oz, where the Tin Man was like their neighbor, or the Scarecrow was her doctor, or someone that is important in her life. No, these are just people that are like passing through.
And
like,
you were there, and you were there.
Well, when he's at the dance, I mean, the Chiwetel Ejiofor is like just a member of the band that just walks by and says, "Hey, that's a good job dancing."
He's also a teacher. But yeah, it was.
That's a teacher in his head. That's not the real person he meets. That's just the church.
But he was around Chuck in like a very impactful moment of his life when he had that dance. Like if we focus on like some of these main characters that you're referring to, the daughter or the wife or like even the girl he dances, or even if like Albie or someone were in his head at the end, it would play very, very differently. I like the way it's structured, where you kind of kept guessing, because I didn't know anything about it coming in. I did think like this is a weird story about the world kind of ending, and like what would you do like on your last day of existence? It sets that theme up very well. But what does it have to do with Chuck? I don't know why everyone's saying thanks, Chuck. That's a mystery. And then you're given that next act where it's like, okay, well, this is who Chuck is. This has nothing to do with the world blipping out of existence. If you had Albie or the wife or some of these characters out, it wouldn't play the message out in the same way. But we do see influences of some of those characters in that final act, where like Albie had a influence on the Mortician. And the Mortician then says that to Chiwetel Ejiofor in his mind, meaning like that web existed because Chuck interacted with Albie in a certain way, but Albie also interacted with the Mortician in a certain way.
It's a bad sign when Lars Van Trier's Melancholia is a much more uplifting film than this. All right.
Found not guilty in this courtroom, I'll have you know.
Yeah, really?
So I still prefer to piss in a wedding dress.
There it is.
We all do.
All right, Vern, if you'd like to continue to your next line of argumentation.
I do. Bring back up the characters. I think there's not much detail given to these characters, or why there's so much detail given to these characters. In Act 3, don't make much of an impact. Marty, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and Felicia being divorced but liking each other. The whole scene of him comparing the history of the world's existence to a single calendar year was dull, only to have it be told in like the TV expert in Act 1. Gus, wasted. Chuck's grandma, the wonderful Mia Sarah, who I love dearly ever since Legend and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. her only character arc is that she likes dancing to Wayne Chun while cooking and introducing Chuck to older dance movies. Um, and then, I mentioned thinking about the wife and kids. We know nothing about them. It's like the girl that he dances with and Act 2 and the drummer. We know more about their lives than the people he's supposed to care about.
Well, that's the point. The web of influence is supposed to go out from him. It would be different if we were focused on this one very intimate relationship. The cosmic calendar, the point of that is like as he's dying, is that very blip of his last existence is when she says, "Thanks, Chuck." So that's like why it means everything in the world of his head when he's dying. And it also shows like this is the way that Chuck thinks. He saw it when he was a kid. It's the way like these sort of things like come back to you at various moments of your life and you sort of ruminate on them. I think about that cosmic calendar thing all the time. So I actually kind of thought that was like a very good example of just something that someone, that I came across that I think about all the time. Mia Sara, you said that like exactly. She introduces him to the dancing. She dies and she dies very unremarkably. Chuck dies and Chuck dies very unremarkably. That's kind of the point. But the influence is still there.
Then Chuck must have had a really bored life if his only happiest memories.
Yeah, we do. He's unremarkable. We're all unremarkable.
Hey, to this buster. All right. And maybe dancing at a high school dance. Like, he doesn't memorize the birth of his child or getting married the first time he met his wife.
You don't know that. It's just the movie doesn't like feel like it needs to explain that because it is about the sea of influences, not these intimate relationships. But I'm sure there's some version of his kid in that universe somewhere.
So are there going to be like sequels to this? Like The Other Life of Chuck?
No. God, no. You're looking for answers that the film isn't even like it does. It's not the point to like explain these intimate relationships.
So like the whole like multitudes, is there going to be different multiverses of Chuck going on that we need to discover? Is this like it almost feels like what Everything Everywhere All at Once did with the whole multitudes. They actually did use multitudes. This just talks about just a few memories that this guy has while he's dying.
No.
And that's it. And they're really kind of like dull ones, except for that second act. That dance sequence is a lot of fun, and I will rewatch the movie just for that because it is beautifully shot. The whole drummer and her drumming dance beats and tempos and them dancing to different things. Wonderful, beautiful stuff. But if that's your only memory, this guy should have been died off a lot sooner.
Jeez.
Wow.
Boring people should die. You heard it.
All right. Oh, no. Vern, is there anything else you'd like to say before you rest?
I think that's what I have now for exhibits there. Okay. And my last one here is the use of narration. I found the use of narration just to be, it was used so much. And I like Nick Offerman, don't get me wrong, I think he has a great voice, but it was used so much, I felt like I could have just listened to the audiobook instead and enjoyed it more.
Nick Offerman's great. I mean, you said it. And I think he really like completes that experience because without it, we're just like Act 3, Act 2, Act 1, and he weren't sort of guiding you through that. Like you do need something to sort of latch onto since Act 3 is like such a different experience than Act 2. And you have Nick Offerman that sort of is your Sherpa that like, okay, this is the same movie that I'm watching. And he's great at it. He's very funny. That fucking bullshit. Like he's so good. No one can say anything bad about this guy.
Funny guy, yeah, but it's not necessary to have it be that long.
All right, so that's the point on the narration. Ben, you're satisfied with your response on that. Vern, is there anything else you would like to say about that, or are you resting?
I think right there, I said everything I need to say. I will rest right there, Your Honor.
Sounds good to me. Thank you, Vern. Mr. Big Ben, you may present any argumentation you have left in favor of The Life of Chuck.
Well, I did take a lot of Vern's time, so this will be a very short trial. I would like to.
It's all good. He's going to tear into you now. You're going to present.
Yeah, that's true. This is my worst exhibit. So here's your chance. I would like to talk about the performances, which I think are very good, even the ones that are a bit more cameo-esque in nature. Of course, you've got Hiddleston playing Chuck, a part that doesn't really have that many lines, but he fills it with so much feeling. There's true gravitas in the way that he looks at things, remembering scenes that Hiddleston didn't even play himself, but you have no trouble buying that he was there for all of them. And he dances very, very well. Mark Hamill and Mia Sara are fantastic as the loving but traumatized grandparents. Mark Hamill's speech on math alone is worth another look on YouTube if you have the time. Benjamin Pajak as young Chuck, too, is great. A rare child actor who doesn't annoy the living hell out of me, but might be playing a dramatic part because he's not a precocious little smartass, which is what like a lot of people kind of do with this. He's a kid trying to make sense of the world around him that makes no sense. And then there's all these other people of the sea of influences of life. Chiwetel Ejiofor, former Ben Obsession Karen Gillan, Kate Siegel, Matthew Lillard.
Former. Yeah, wait, order in my court here. that requires explanation.
Remember, she got a glimpse into a universe where we were married and she opted out of that life. So I think we'll have to call that one where it is.
That's very self-aware of you, Big Ben.
Yeah, I saw Obsession, so that enough of that. Most of these people get a nice little Stephen King / Steven Spielberg-esque soliloquy about some aspect of influence that someone has had on them. Nobody feels out of place to me in this movie. These are all very earnest performances.
While I do agree that performances are good, I had issues with the grandpa character basically telling his grandson, hey, you know what? The dream you have about being a dancer, don't do that. You should do math because math is available everywhere. Math doesn't lie. What you want to do, that's a lie. You're just lying to yourself, little boy, all right? Go math, all right? Because math is always going to tell you the truth, but what you really love is just an honest-to-God lie, you loser.
Well, he did set Chuck up for a very stable life. We don't know what would have happened to him as a dancer. So I think he would say that, like not every influence that we have is going to steer us for the better. Some of us might steer us for stability. I don't think he doesn't love Albie and anything, but Albie, like it would be very sappy if like every influence that he had from his grandparents on like steered him towards this profession of being a great dancer. It's world renowned because that isn't the point of the story.
Oh, all right. And go on.
All right. Anything else you'd like to present, Big Ben? Put a thing on it or...
No, I think that's it. I like the structure. I like the way that the cupola sort of presents that thing at the end with just a little tinge of supernatural, with the scar on his hand that he then looks at that and says, you know what? I'm going to live. Like Albie sees this and he takes it's the waiting is the hardest part. Whereas as Chuck sees this and he says, I'm going to live my life as fully as I can. I love that structure. And on that, the defense will rest.
All right. All sides have rested their cases. The attorneys will now present their closing arguments. The Vern, you may begin.
All right. My closing thoughts is going to be my 2-star review on Letterboxd. If Stephen King or Mike Flanagan, who has adapted many of King's books onto the screen, were not involved, no one would care about this movie. While it has a few interesting scenes, including a great dance number with a drummer, I played drums, so that was fun to watch. The structure of it playing backwards made little to no sense. The actors are good, but even they can't save this from being a complete dud. All I know is that Chuck likes to dance.
All right, thank you. Big Ben, please present your closing argument. Do we need to tune anything up? Do we need to get the drums going?
No.
What?
I would like to point out that I mentioned King's name once. There's so much there in that in this case that I presented that wasn't even King adjacent. So I don't even think people went to see it for him. I didn't. But Vern, what's in there? In that head? All the movies you've seen? Or just the ones you remember? Every frame you've watched, every story you've carried, your world, Vern. Projectors humming, warm theater seats. Every movie you watch, that world inside your head gets bigger and louder and stranger and more alive. You've built archives of entire filmographies with directors, writers, and actors, real and fictional. Do you understand? Don't stop there. You fill that world with every guest you've had on Cinema Recall, every podcast you've crossed over with, every late night conversation at a diner about some movie nobody even remembers. It's become a collection. It's become a conversation, a network, a living reel that never stops spinning. You carry every story you've ever loved, every interpretation you've ever shared with others and that others have shared with you, every character that you've wanted to be like. It's not just movies, it's a universe. And you contain it all, Vern. You contain multitudes.
Thank you all. Members of the jury, Mr. Dylan J. Schlender, Mr. Maynard Bangs, and Mr. The World Loves Dancers. It truly does, but it needs Ryan Luis Rodriguez.
I like that.
You have all heard the facts concerning this case. It is now up to you to determine if this film is guilty of being a bad movie. The bailiff will escort you to the deliberation room to render your verdict.
Right this way? You know, if you ask me, the Vern just contains a singletude.
Oh, wow.
Maybe an attitude.
Oh, there it is.
That's the joke.
Okay. That makes sense, too. Yeah, as soon as he said the world loves dancers, but it truly needs accountants, I paused, got up, and wrote it down with a pen. It's a good thing I did, too, because it wasn't in the quotes section of IMDb, so I would have been screwed if I didn't do it.
I figured you got up and danced.
Yeah. I did a little dancing when Asia came on.
You mean Wang Chung?
You're right. It is Wang Chung, not Asia.
It's all staying in now.
Well, hey, what do you... not me. I was the judgment.
Me then, Ryan? You were doing the interview?
I got an interview.
All right, great. Just want to make sure that we know that Schlenzo didn't know it was Wang Chung. So, what is everyone thinking about that case?
It was the heat of the moment.
Schlenzo, you didn't know it was Wang Chung. Why don't you tell us what your thoughts are?
Well, okay. So, actually, you know what is funny? I liked both cases because I actually think a lot of the stuff that Vern was criticizing is stuff that I had criticisms with as well. The biggest one, I just think Nick Offerman is played out, and his narration was just pretty suffocating. It's like, we don't need this much. This movie is not particularly deep. It is not particularly hard to follow. You know what I mean? It's like, we don't need. And then when he wasn't giving the exposition dumps, like he said, then you had like Matthew Lillard was giving an exposition dump. And then you had the Carl Lumbly giving it not once, but twice in this movie. And it's just kind of like everyone's just explaining everything all the time. It takes some of the wonderment out of it, like when the stars are disappearing and things like that, so there was some great visual elements that we could have had, but it was just absolutely bogged and weighed down with all of this talk, and just not enough like dynamicism and action. So like when Vern was like, it's kind of like the audiobook. It's like, in a way, now I'm a big Stephen King fan. I've never read this novella, so I can't comment on it. It definitely felt very
which one
King-esque. What's that?
You know which one it's in?
It's called like If It Bleeds, I think, is a 2020 collection. Which is funny because I think I've read the first story that was in it. It's about a guy who has a magic cell phone. Like, I know I've read that one, so I must have just not read.
Wait, he did
read
another magic cell phone book?
Yeah, I know, right? Can you believe it? Short story. Yeah, and so it felt very a piece of King. I think I like Flanagan, but I'm constantly giving him credit for stuff that he turns out he didn't do once I like double check his Wikipedia. But so on the nuts and bolts of it, it's all very competent. I think the reason it is the reverse structure is because if it was the other way around, it's about him heading towards his death. And if you do it backwards, it's about him chasing and heading towards his life, which is sappy, but it's there at least, you know what I mean? So like it is kind of like cheesy in a way, you know what I mean? It's like, it is kind of sad that our culture has fallen so far that a life-affirming movie like this is reviewed as some kind of revelation. It's like, people just used to live. Like, that's not a new thing, So it is pretty interesting, the accolades it's getting and from the corners it's getting it from, because there's a lot of people who are pretty well adjusted. It's just like, I don't know. So what are you guys thinking?
Ryan.
I think this is a lovely film. I felt so when I saw it in the theater. I'd only seen the previews 8 million times because I'm an AMC A-lister, and they like to pick their trailers and they like to show them to you frequently. But I knew absolutely nothing about the film other than it was Flanagan and King, and I didn't really care about King. I cared about Flanagan because I'm a fan of his television work. I'm a fan of his film work. I don't know if I prefer this or Ouija Origin of Evil, mainly because I love that movie so much.
That is a good one. I like that one
But
too.
I've been thinking a lot about death lately, and this movie has been on my mind, no pun intended. And it's one of those things where that third act is a nightmare, a recurring nightmare that I have at least once every 2 weeks. Of just everything around me doesn't make sense, the world is ending, and I'm not okay with it, and everybody else is chill about it. And it really packs an emotional punch for me, that and also Act 2, expressing the joy of music through Dance Hall Days, which is one of my favorite songs ever recorded. That's just
By Wang Chung, I believe.
Yes, by Wang Chung.
Oh.
And it's interesting to note that Tom Hiddleston is barely in this movie, but he's top billed. I guess because he's Chuck, but I mean, really, the scene that he has that he actually does something is the busker scene, which I think is kind of remarkable in its own little. It's like an isolated little film in the middle of this tapestry. And
I agree. I was really starting to hate the movie until that happened, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of here for this, you know.
And I think that it wraps up sufficiently. I think that the characters are actually well developed. We don't need to spend a lot of time with them to get to know them. These are well-known people outside of the specter of film, so it feels like they carry their characters with them, and they kind of bring it to the project as opposed to being shoehorned into something. And so I got to push back on that criticism.
I do think the Vern had a good point, though, about like the wife and kid and that whole section of his life not being explored. Does seem a very, very unusual. Now, I get what Ben's saying. It's about the multitudes and the little connections that make things interesting, but they were presented as being almost too outsized. And if it just seems like you would have to do something with the wife and kid. Also, when they kept saying 39 good years, I thought like they meant he worked there for 39 years. I didn't realize he was 39 years old. He looked
supposed to think.
No, but like he didn't look 39. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. You know, so
well, he really took care of himself.
I thought he was older. I thought he was. I said I thought he was older. That's all.
Like you.
Yeah. What it seems like you have reason for saying that. What's on your mind?
I generally enjoyed this movie. I think Vern did a really good calculated attack. He had a lot of very organized exhibits. I think he did take the film down a bit. I mean, the movie it gets duller, I think, is the problem. So I understand the point of that. This is probably the right structure to have, but you go from a world where the stars are literally dying to I mean, the busker dancing is fine. That is not what saved the movie for me. I want the universe to end. I was interested in the universe ending, and then it doesn't really.
Well, you knew it ended though, because that's how Act 3 ends.
It doesn't. The universe doesn't really end. A man just dies, and like his memories die. Like,
well, that's what you find out. Yeah.
Right. But so the universe is fine. Very low stakes.
Yeah.
Just one guy. I think Vern's point about not knowing anything about the wife is very interesting. You would think that if this guy looked back on his life, the moment he met his wife would stand out. Not that I think this whole thing is him going through. I don't know if this is his life flashing before his eyes.
This isn't his memoirs.
This is not his memoirs.
And with the blastoma going through his brain, it's mixing everything up. That's why everything's so mixed up in Act 3, and like that's why like the funeral director is saying stuff that his grandpa said, and like that's how I interpreted it anyways. Like everything's kind of like blended in his mind, and because of that, I was interested to see where the wife and kid fit into that, because you are able to put the clues together for who everyone else is and why they're there and why they're acting the way they're acting. Like why I'm going to butcher his name, but the secret agent from Serenity, he actually looks up the stairs and sees the lock, so like I get that, but I don't see how his wife and kids can't figure into that part's a stretch to me.
It could be that they're not all that important to his life. Not everybody likes their wife and kids.
Well, no, it's not about that, but these would be important moments though. That's what I'm saying. Like I think it's valid to wonder.
It turned out that it was less important to him than the day he went dancing and a lot of people cheered. Because those were the days he was really doing what he wanted.
Could be. I mean, if it's an answer, it's not particularly sufficient or interesting, but I mean, that's not your guys' fault. You know, it's the movie's fault.
I did think the performance was good. You're right. Hiddleston's really not much there. I did really like
inexplicably British too. He grew up with an American accent and then became British.
I liked the whole first act. I did really like. I was very interested in those characters. It was disappointing that we left them behind. I can understand, what Vern's saying is this probably doesn't deserve the accolades it get. Probably doesn't deserve to be USA Today's best movie of the year. But I don't know if
USA Today ever picked the best movie of the year.
I don't know, but they picked Life of Chuck that year.
I remember it was like Teen Vogue or something said that Sandra Bullock was going to win an Oscar for sure for The Blind Side, and we all laughed, and then it turns out they were right. So you never know. Maybe USA Today's do.
I've never heard of that movie or Sandra Bullock.
She's in your memory palace.
He took it down for me, but bad movie, all the way to bad movie, that's far. So I think he took it down a couple of notches for me, but all the way into bad, I don't know. I don't think it happened. It's a very interesting movie. It's a little over sentimental for me. It's a little bit too much. But it still was well performed and it looks great. So I'm going to go not guilty.
I don't think it's interesting. It actually is pretty straightforward once you let it digest a bit. I mean, it's basically a Hallmark card movie, which is okay. Like there should be space for stuff like that, and when he was dying and I saw the universe going out, I was thinking, because in Act 3, I'm thinking like, okay, it's dying because this is Chuck dying and he's controls of the universe for some reason. Like, how is this working? It kind of reminded me of the Chesterton quote when he talks about the man who kills a man, the man who kills himself kills all men. For as far as he is concerned, he wipes out the world. And I was like, is that what we're looking at here? But like, no, it wasn't actually that interesting, it turns out. But yeah, did it get all the way to bad? As much as I liked Vern's points, because they're the ones I really agreed with, like we just did not need that narration. I mean, I really think we're looking at this movie is at the low end of good, just above meh. So I'm going to go not guilty on this one.
Brian.
It's unanimous. Not guilty.
Damn, I like.
Oh, well, then I want to change it to a pity vote for Vern, because I agree with the Nick Offerman point too much. The little Vern in my head made me do it. Damn it!
You did a great job.
All right, don't pull that thing out. All right, let's go tell that very handsome judge.
Mr. Foreman, have you reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor. In the case of The People versus Life of Chuck, we find the defendant not guilty of being a bad movie.
Boo!
Feel like dancing.
All right. The verdict is so rendered. Life of Chuck is free to go. Not that it matters, since we are all just figments of Ben's last moments on Earth anyway. Court is adjourned.
Thank God, Ben. Pay my taxes.
This is Grumbly Grumblerson, the most justifiably furious court reporter, reporting to you live from outside the Reels of Justice. Ben Haslar, nickname Fetid Stench. Would you care to share your thoughts on the jury's verdict? And keep in mind, I won't be listening.
You saw my dating profile. No, great job, Vern. I can understand why this movie is very frustrating to certain people, especially if like a certain idea of what it's going to be, either with Stephen King's name or whatever, going in. I did go blind. I didn't really think too much about it, so I think that from that perspective, the structure won me over. But I can see why some people like the points about the wife or whatever. I can see why that would be annoying. So yeah, no, good job. It was fun sparring with you. Thanks for coming to the court.
Grumbly, wake up! He finally shut up. And here comes the Vern, that lugubrious pant load. Excuse me, can we get a word on how you feel about today's verdict?
Hello, Grumbly. It is so nice to see you. I'm all. Miss you so much. Big shout out to Ben for giving like a great defense for this movie. I can listen to I've listened to you talk about your love of it. I can understand why people love this movie, and maybe I'm a grumpy McGrumperson myself. We may be cousins here because I felt very grumpy about this movie, but I get why people like it. That's fine. I'm just gonna be grumpy about it. I'll be grumpy McGrumperson too. I'll be grumpy too.
I never signed off on a sequel. That's all we have for the courthouse today. Let's go back to the studio for post-trial analysis, you fucking amateurs.
Lugubrious Pant Load was my band in college.
We got Ryan's new nickname next time.
Oh man,
That's gonna be a whole new like buddy cop sitcom right now. All right.
yeah. No, Vern, I think you did a great job of pointing out the stuff that was bugging me while I was watching it too, and it's just like I do not see how this is getting such vaunted praise. Like, it's kind of interesting how bifurcated the commentariat is on this. So it'd be interesting.
I wasn't aware it got such vaunted praise. Like I thought like pretty much nobody saw it except for me and Ryan.
Oh well, yeah, no one
USA
saw
Today
it.
saw
Like, did not do well at the box office. Nah, but the Critterati out there, they love it, and some hate it. It's very in it. You know?
And I do want to thank Neon for sending me like a bot set of every movie they released last year, and this is one of them. And the cool
How
thing
do we get
is,
on that train?
so this is the cool thing too. So all the DVDs they do send you, some of them are just screener copies, so it's just the movie itself. But some of them are the actual DVDs with the special features. And I've got The Life of Chuck with the commentary track from Mike Flanagan and documentaries. So
It's a good commentary.
I would be interested in listening to
So
the commentary.
If I shoot you my address, you'll mail it to me because you hate the movie.
I might, but just be that one movie. That's I can probably send you that.
I just imagine the president of
No, the
Neon
whole
is
box set.
listening
Come
now.
on, let's be fair.
It's like, we can't send that lugubrious pant load any more DVDs.
Over and over. No, excellent. So Vern, what keeps you busy? What you been up to since the last time you've been here?
Well, we all know I do Cinema Recall, but
We
another
do.
show I want to mention is the I almost said the Rules of Justice. No, the Rotten Truth.
That's a great show.
you do that too. You're here a lot.
You are a very popular guest, Vern.
The other show I do is called The Rotten Truth over on Rabbit Hole Podcasts, and it's a show where me and my good buddy Donnie Roberts, we review movies that have gotten low scores on Rotten Tomatoes and decide, hey, why was this movie so bad? So, like, the highest one we covered was Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which has 50%. And the lowest we've covered is Stephen King's Graveyard Shift, which has 0%. And honestly, I thought this should be a little bit lower than Graveyard Shift, but I'm probably going to be the minority on that one.
Lower than
No,
zero.
Fear and Loathing, like that's a good first
Well, are
choice,
you
'cause, like, that's so
looking
well
at
known.
Are you looking at the critic score, the audience score, or whichever one serves your purposes?
I mean, just we looked at what is the main score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, so the critic score.
The
Critic
critic
score.
score.
Yeah.
And we decide from there, like, is this movie bad? Is it good? We dive into like the history of the movie a little bit, about the changes that possibly have been made to make this a good or bad movie. The wonderful, handsome Ryan Luis Rodriguez will be an upcoming guest on a
love that
later
guy.
episode. So for future people, just keep in mind that we will have an established critic on our show talking about Charlie's Angels Full Throttle.
Ooh, there we go.
Interesting choice, right?
I love that movie.
What about the very handsome Ben Haslar and the very handsome Rob
Well,
Maynard?
we definitely want to get you on the show because I'm starting like a new season, but we have a choice right out there. 3 choices. If you go to the Rabbit Hole Podcast Facebook group, I have 3 choices for you to vote on. One is we're going to talk about either the movies of Madonna, the movies of Elvis Presley, or the movies of Hulk Hogan.
Hey,
That's right, brother.
Yeah, you'll get Maynard and I on for Suburban Commando. It'll be a good time.
Oh, sure. All right. Yeah, so go into the Rabbit Hole Podcast group Facebook page. There's a poll there. Vote. I'll even post that on my cinema. I'll post that on my Crack Facebook group. Crack is Cinema Recall's awesome cinematic club with a K. So if you go to Facebook, look up Crack and become a crackhead.
Had to spell club wrong just so you could say spell crack. Huh?
That's right. Of course I
What
did.
do you think about the tomato score, Vern? Like the way it's weighted, where it's like if it's something negative, then it's all negative, or if it's something somewhat positive, it's all positive.
Well, that's the thing too. That's we kind of discussed on the show is that even movies that have like 30%, there's some good things about it, and I feel like there's too much consensus on Rotten Tomatoes where like a low score, people will not want to view a movie that's actually not bad. And we kind of
It's in the middle. Yeah, it's middling. Yeah.
yeah, and that's the thing too. Movies that have like like the 0.5%, those are the movies that I tend to like more because you get a wide division of people who love or who hate it. And in reality, you can have a movie that's just fine. It doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be terrible. You may just be in the middle of it, and that's totally fine.
I know we use that score for our show like more than anything else. Like, okay, if it's in the middle there, then it truly is divisive.
Yeah.
It's one of the many weather vanes we have on the barn that is Reels of Justice, Ben. Don't sell us short.
Well, yeah, most of it's just the guest wants to do the movie. We're doing the movie the guest wants.
My position on Rotten Tomatoes is that everything's scored too high. You should subtract at least 20% from everything to
yeah,
really get an idea
Mandalorian
of
and
where it goes.
Grogu, there's no friggin' way it's that high. It's not fresh. It's the opposite of fresh. It's been done to death.
Is that the thing too? Are we just rating those movies because of our nostalgia factors? Because we love Star Wars, we want to give that movie a good review no matter what.
But I think like if most people there are just like, it's okay, then all of a sudden it's like 98% or whatever.
I think especially when people go out the first weekend for a movie, they weigh it higher and they want you to think it was really good because after all, they went out on the weekend and saw it. You know, they want to kind of create a little FOMO in you, and they're like, "Oh no, the movie was really good. You really missed out. You should have gone out on Thursday night with like when I did."
I think they're getting
Seen it
bribed
first
by
screening.
the big corporations. That's my theory.
Hey, maybe
We'll give you a $50 popcorn bucket if you go.
I mean, I would do it. Hey, anyone
give
out
me
there
a $50.
that,
Don't sell me a $50 popcorn bucket.
Neon, if you want me to give you all the good reviews, just send me a box set. I won't stab you in the
me
back
too.
like Vern did here.
Really sold them out.
I'll give everything a positive
I'm just
letterbox
being
review
honest,
you send me. Come
alright?
on.
And
I'll
that's
give
why
you the
we do
positive
it.
letterbox review, but the heart's extra.
That's why people trust Vern and don't
Me?
trust Schlenzo.
No.
But that'll be great.
Very
We'll
wise,
get
very
me
wise.
and Ben on your show, Vern. Then all the stars will be out.
Slim,
Now, Vern, I thought you have another show that you're thinking about cooking
So
up.
I'm starting another show in July. We recorded a few episodes, but I'm not releasing the first pilot until July. I am starting a new podcast called the AV Exchange. This is a pop culture podcast that I'm doing with my good friend Ashley Urach, who is my former co-host of Cinema Recall. But our schedules just did not work out for us to get together all the time. And I started the show because I like talking to her about just random things that don't specifically attain to the topic that we're talking about. So we have a whole multitudes of topics that are
Now
going
you're
to
on the trolley.
during the show. So yeah, it'd be like my own life of Vern, all right? And we're going to be talking about like dancing, or it'd be life of Ashley. We're going to talk about, dating and jobs and her kids and just different things. Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. We recorded 2 episodes, just us randomly talking about everything from like going to strip clubs to like going on vacation to Mexico. Just different things.
Those are the same trip.
But no, they're different trips.
The Mexican strip club. No
Mexican
one's worth
strip
the
club.
trip for. Awesome. All right. And then what about just a little bit on Cinema Recall? What have you been up to lately there?
Well, like right now, I'm just doing my what do they call it? Recalling Rodriguez. We're bringing on a different guest to talk about different films in the world of director Robert Rodriguez.
Oh.
By the time this goes up, I will be having on Scott.
Real bait and switch there.
But
I was just joking.
We were
It's
hoping it would be
Ryan.
about Ryan Luis
We
Rodriguez.
were just joking. No, I knew what you meant. I knew it was going to be.
But I feel bad because Ryan did record a wonderful episode talking about Alita Battle Angel, but something happened with my recording, so my audio cuts off, and it's just Ryan. And I feel like I should just release the episode with just
I say
Ryan.
release it anyway.
That's all you need, baby.
I mean,
he
maybe
does say a
you-
lot of great things, and I thought about maybe just like putting in my voice on
Yeah.
there, like
Just
reacting
agreeing.
to
Yes, you're right. Mm-hmm. Well,
Yep.
things.
well considered.
I may do that because there's some really good statements that Ryan has said about Alita Battle Angel, and I feel really bad that I have not released the episode just yet. So I may just do that, but
I think
you're
should
gonna have
do
to give it
that.
some time because it's gonna take me some time to edit that and make that sound somewhat coherent.
No. You start playing his track. you record your own track, and then you just kind of react to it live. Take all in one take. Boom.
Yep.
Yeah,
Lay it down.
that'd be a good idea. I think I may actually do that. But by the time this episode comes out, you can hear me and Scott from the Church on Tarantino podcast talk about the misbehaviors in 4 Rooms. We also have on there Izzy from the That's Bodacious Dude talking about Desperado. Yeah.
Let
And
somebody love you.
yeah, for what else we got there? Yeah. My mind is like just going on a blink right now about.
Oh well, you've talked about a lot,
people
So
on the show.
we'll
That's
be able to check all that out. Where can people follow you on social media to find your many projects?
Yes, please follow me on like Twitter or on Blue Sky, Instagram, Cinema Recall Podcast or Cinema_Recall. Just type in your little computer dealy things there. Cinema Recall Podcast. You can find me everywhere on there. Seriously, just type in Cinema Recall Podcast. Bam, Spotify shows up, the website, YouTube, everywhere.
And behind you with a knife.
There's nothing coming up on Pornhub at all.
Oh my! I may start a Pornhub channel. Yeah.
There you go. I bet you'll get a lot of clicks.
See?
Now, we always ask for recommendations from our guests for movies you think people should see. So, Vern, what is a movie you think people should see?
This is the difficult part about being back on the show.
You're right.
Because
you hardly ever see any movies.
I will recommend something, and there'll be some nerd out there who is listening saying,
Some dweeb.
Excuse me, you already talked about that movie in episode 476.
We can do that now.
Vern, you only did it one time, and I told you that as a courtesy.
You're right. Schlender was a dweeb. You're right.
But the movie that I'm going to talk about is one that I just rewatched later today. And it's a movie that gives me so much joy when watching it. Even if you're not familiar with this musician or know any of their songs or not familiar with them, I still think it's probably one of the best concert movies ever. And that is Talking Heads, Stop Making Sense. Directed by Jonathan Demme. Photographed by Jordan Cronenworth, and it's a live recording of the Talking Heads in 1984. And honestly, when I first watched this, I only knew a few songs from the Talking Heads and didn't really know anything else about them. But this is such a really engaging concert. It's not just a concert movie, it's just a really damn good movie in and of itself. The lighting, the sound work. I mean, each of the band members sort of serve as their own characters in this. It is absolutely wonderful. I got to see it twice in theaters, one in IMAX and one in just regular theaters. And the way that the audience watched the movie, responded to the songs, and the way that these musicians interact with each other is just great. The whole life during wartime, where they're just running around, is just absolutely great. David Byrne dancing with the lamp in This Must Be the Place, just really just wonderful moments. And I love the fact too that this movie wisely does not show the audience until the very end. And when it shows the audience having a good time watching this, I feel like I'm there with them, having a good time with them as well. Yeah, I love every single song, all the musicians, backup dancers, percussionists. Just, it's a wonderful film, and it reminds us that we lost a great director with Jonathan Demme. If we get the DVD, does have commentary tracks from the director and Talking Heads, and that's a lot of fun too.
Awesome. You should get that big suit for Halloween one year.
Oh, I should.
You definitely pull that off. Awesome.
You recommended it in season 7, by the way. That's because this is season 7.
That's a great recommendation. I hope that they played Everybody Have Fun tonight.
that's Wing Chun.
That's Wing Chun. Shit.
Actually, I did recommend this movie 2 seasons ago.
Is that true?
Yes.
Wonderful,
did I really?
Vern. Please, thank you, Vern. Never change.
Wow.
Only the Vern, man.
God.
I love it.
Only the Vern.
I don't even know if Ryan's being serious or fucking with you. That's just the way Ryan is.
But here's
None
the
of us
thing,
know.
though. You believe it.
I do believe it. That's the success of Ryan fucking with
I
you.
love
We
you,
won't
Ryan. I
know
love
until
you so
after
much.
we're done recording whether that's true.
Hey,
Ben,
but if
what
it's
have you
true,
got?
Ben, you have to put each Vern quote for the movie on the
Oh,
letterbox.
you would love that. I would.
I would, yeah.
love
No,
that.
I have before. We've someone's
Yeah.
done that twice. I think Isaac Arthur.
Well,
has.
Vern, obviously. That's
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
and Vern.
Hey,
But, gentlemen,
for all of our
if-
guests out there, that's a gimmick you could take. Is always recommend the same movie. That'd be funny.
Just say
Bobby
something different
Lapierre did
about
Diamogen.
Oh.
But it's time for another edition of Ben's Never Seen. And you know what 90s rom-com named after a Roy Orbison song I've never seen?
Pretty Woman.
That's it. And while I had the broad strokes of it right in my mind, for whatever reason, I had thought it was more of a modern day Pygmalion story, which it does have elements of that for sure. But there's a whole lot less of that I think she's got it moments that I was expecting. Because Richard Gere seems pretty content in letting Julia Roberts do her thing as she accompanies him to the business functions he needs a date for. Also, a big surprise for me was Jason Alexander is in it. Honestly, I had no idea.
Is it
I've
evil
never-
rapist?
Yeah, well,
Attempted rapist.
attempted. Yeah, he's multifaceted.
He contains
Attempted.
multitudes.
Whoa.
I've never been too big a follower of either Roberts or Gere, but after seeing them here, I can say that I get it. Gere's look of adoration and positive teasing as he observes his companion navigate his world is charming, and Roberts looks friggin' stunning here and bursting with character and joy. And the way that the two characters rub off of one another is definitely very well executed.
No pun
Uh,
intended.
Yeah, there was a pun intended there, and you had to call it out.
Yeah.
That's why I said yes.
It's not a terribly feminist film, and the thesis does seem to be that money is worth, since money seems to solve all of the problems except for a fear of heights. Fortunately, there is also a more positive theme of accepting the worth of others on all levels and not just how they present themselves in society. As one of my favorite moments where Gere says, with a sense of pride, that he never treated her as a prostitute, not realizing with that very utterance that he just did.
So money can't just buy happiness? I thought it always does.
According
gets
to this,
pretty
it does.
close. Well, you know what, Ben? Actually, it's funny you should say that because when I saw this, I thought the same thing because I was never a big fan of either of them. But then I totally understood why this movie made them megastars. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, like they're clicking. It just works. It's a remarkably good movie and king of wishful thinking at the beginning. Love it.
Oh, by Wing Chun?
So
That's the one.
Yes.
Ryan,
And the
you know
dance.
movies well. Is this a sequel to American Gigolo?
No.
No.
Yeah.
No, because he does
Yes.
play
Because Jason Alexander dies in American Gigolo, so it can't be.
Oh, okay.
Could it
What
be?
about
Could it be a
his twin
sequel?
brother?
Could this be a prequel of American?
But
Gigolo?
is
It's like a
this
Better
like-
Tomorrow too, but it's Jason Alexander. What are
Is
we
this
doing
like a
here?
multitude of hooker movies?
I mean, it could. Every Richard Gere movie is happening in some autistic boy's mind right now.
Schlenz, why don't you recommend one of them?
I wish I did. No, Maynard, what I have today is a little more in my lane, and I am recommending. Well, it's pretty much a decent horror hacker, so it's the complete antithesis of what we saw today. But if Michael Flanagan was not so ambitious, he could have made Scared Shitless from 2024. A father and son plumbing duo gets called into an apartment. Wait, it gets better. A father and son plumbing duo get called into an apartment on an emergency call because something is in the pipes and it's killing everyone. That's right. It's a monster. And Maynard, you'll like this. It's a real monster. And Ben, you'll like this. It's got tentacles. Yes, exactly.
Shitty tentacles?
Yeah. Well, no, but it's like a monster. The Scared Shitless part is just because
Not made of poop.
they're
Man's the
plumbers.
real
Yeah.
monster.
So it's not
Now
like
I have
dogs.
to exactly.
Right.
So I have to say, despite sheer hackery, it manages to deliver a nice father and son story, and it takes the kind of twists and conventions, and actually kind of has a feel-good ending at the end. That I'm like, okay, this is kind of nice. I'm glad that they had the courage to wrap it up in a nice way instead of just saying, okay, we'll just kill everyone and then this guy's dead, so everyone kind of ends up coming back. It's kind of nice,
We're very different people.
Oh, yes, exactly. I'm a decent person and you are a person. So
Hey, I'm pulling Kubri's pant load.
So that's Scared Shitless for you.
So-
It should be on Tubi. At least it was. I tried finding it on there today to shore up the recommendation. I didn't see it. So it is only like an hour and 15 minutes. So maybe it didn't make the cut for Tubi.
Dylan, this sounds like the sequel to Killer Condom that got flushed down the toilet and became the Scared Shitless monster.
Which is a prequel to American Gigolo, which is a sequel to Pretty
It's
Woman.
all connected.
Multitudes, people, multitudes.
You know, Schlenzo, if you remember real hard, a long time ago, way back to last season, I successfully appealed Paranormal Activity in this very court. I know it feels like yesterday, but in reality, it was a lot longer.
So long ago.
So in preparation for that case, I went through a few of the direct sequels. So for my recommendation today, I'm going to recommend you skip past Paranormal Activity 2 and jump straight to Paranormal Activity 3 from 2011.
Is that the one with the witches in the barn?
No, that is not. No, that's like 7.
That's 4. No, that's
4. I want to recommend that one.
No. I think you are thinking of 7. Yeah.
That's the only one he's seen. I watched it with him. Because whereas the second film is a prequel to the original, the third is a pre-prequel to that one. Like a re-prequel or something. I'm not.
Pre-prequel?
I think you had it with pre-prequel.
It's pre-prequel.
Pre-prequel. Thus, we go back to the magical time of 1988, when Katie and her sister first crossed paths with that unseen entity they called Toby, prompting their mother's boyfriend to set up cameras around their house to capture the culprit. While this one is definitely a step down from the original in the verisimilitude department, you're meaning to tell me Katie has already lived through an entire period where everything in her house was filmed? It does have some very neat sequences, albeit more laden with traditional horror film tropes. One of the must-see elements here is a makeshift tripod they craft out of an oscillating fan, allowing one of the static night cameras to pan across the living room and kitchen constantly, no matter how badly you might want to stay focused on what's happening, setting up some of the more iconic and memorable sequences in the entire franchise. Unlike the original, it has trouble staying low to the ground and thus strains credulity. And I wish it had actually included the fire we know eventually takes Katie's house. That would have been a nice cap to this film. But with the
left that out.
They left that out completely.
That was the whole point.
I thought that too. I was like, I thought that too, but it turned out it was not. But with the addition of the creepy childhood imaginary friend trope, and again the oscillating fan gimmick, this one is worth including in your marathon, and you literally don't need to know anything from 2 going in. And in fact, you might like 2 more after you've seen 3. Consider it Paranormal Activity machete order. If you want to check it out, Paranormal Activity 3 seems to be streaming fucking everywhere. It's part of some Paramount Plus shit. It's fucking everywhere. It's probably playing behind you right now.
Look at the knife.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Maynard.
Yeah.
Pre-squared quill.
We'll think about it. Ryan, send us on home.
It's a little ambitious.
You know, when I worked at Blockbuster, I was exposed to a bunch of films that I probably otherwise missed. Black Dynamite is a big one. I could have recommended that, but instead, my recommendation this week is my favorite discovery in 5 years of video store retail grunt work, a documentary from 2008 called Not Quite Hollywood. The film charts Ozploitation, which is Australian genre cinema, through its inception in the 1970s all the way through the late 1980s, cinema that encompassed everything from George Miller's Mad Max to Brian Trenchard Smith's Dead End Drive-In, just to name car movies. You get interviews with all those involved, as well as an uncharacteristically enthusiastic Quentin Tarantino, just kidding, he always sounds a little too amped, waxing poetic about car porn and the upside of getting ripped off at your local grindhouse theater. Oh, it's magic.
That's our Tarantino.
Just like the films and ethos it covers, the film is lewd, crude, and flies in the face of decency and good taste, which sounds terrific, doesn't it? It was my real entry point into Australian exploitation, and I gotta say, around that same time, I started a list of movies that I needed to see with a sense of urgency, and more than a few of the films covered in this documentary made the cut. Some of them I've seen since, like Richard Franklin's Road Games, and Russell Mulcahy's Razorback being chief among them. Yes, but most I've yet to see, largely due to a lack of availability for a major reason. But after watching Not Quite Hollywood about 8 or 9 times, yes, it's true, it's that intensely watchable, I can at least pretend that I know a little about the subgenre and its twisted delights. Not Quite Hollywood is currently streaming on Amazon Prime, Canopy, Tubi, Plex, Hoopla, Docs, Philo, Pluto, and Voodoo. I swear I didn't make any of those names up. They're just really games.
We'll fact check that.
Eat it, AMC Plus.
Hoopla! 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 Ryan, is Quiet Earth, is it really? I think it was Australian, but it might have been New Zealand.
It is Australian.
It is Australian. Does it count as like the Auspalation?
No.
Exploitation?
No, that's more of an art film.
It is. It was very artsy. That's why I wasn't too sure it would count.
So-
Yeah.
So, Ryan, is Xanadu exploitation because of Olivia Newton-John's in it?
No, it has to be from a Australian director.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So
I
Crocodile
got
Dundee doesn't count either.
No.
Damn
you.
it.
But surely
No,
the
that's another
Crocodile
art
Dundee
film.
guy, he was in some exploitation movies, surely.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
None that they cover, but he was.
But don't
Okay, that would make sense, I feel. That sounds interesting, actually. I might check that one out.
Yeah, you should start an Australian recommendation thing, Schlenzo. It'll be like your thing. It'll be like your Ben thing.
It'd be like Walkmendations.
Yeah.
Mendations.
I call them walkabout mendations.
Waka waka.
We'll
Because you
work
go on
on it.
walkabout in Australia, and we keep the whole. Wait, is the walk not supposed to be the theme? I'm not paying that much attention. I'm sorry.
Outback Mendations? I don't know.
It's tough. Yeah, I don't got another right now.
It's
I-
especially
I make it
tough
look
when-
easy, folks. People laugh. I made it look easy.
I'm also going to recommend Ben's Never Seens.
Stop it. I need those.
Anyway, hopefully we'll think of something for your Australian recommendation by the time you join us again.
I got one up my sleeve, actually. I got a good one.
And we hope that
From the man who got us pre-squared emendations. Yeah.
all right, we are out of the show, Ben. We want to thank our guest, the Vern, for joining us. Thank you so much, Vern.
I like being here in court with you, gentlemen. You are just wonderful people. Ben, Dylan, Maynard, Ryan, all of you are just wonderful, and I appreciate each and every one of you.
And
We
I
love you,
tolerate
Vern.
you.
That's all I need in life is people to tolerate me.
No, you're one of my favorite guests, Vern.
I love Vern. I won't say a single bad thing about that lugubrious pant load.
You're the best guest we've
All
had
for
all
you.
day, Vern. And we're going to have you back. And we hope that everyone else will join us as well as the reels of justice keep turning.
Count it.
Thanks, Chuck.
Please follow us on Twitter at Reels of Justice, Instagram Reels of Justice, and Facebook.com/Reels of Justice.